Revolution born in the DeFi space. EMP Fusion, leading the race. From EMP to energy, the cycles turn. Passive income streams, it's what we earn. Sacrifice and stake, let your journey begin. In the heart of fusion, everyone wins. Daily rewards, no limit in sight. Building wealth in the digital night. Fusion ignites, the future's in view. Decentralized growth for me and you. Infinite loops, rewards on demand. Together we thrive, in fusion we stand. EMP empowers, energy thrives. In this ecosystem, our wealth arrives. No more middlemen, no centralized ties. Just smart contracts and community ties. The marketplace beckons, a gamified land. With strategy sharp, we take our stand. One single stake, rewards abound. In Fusion's loop, prosperity is found. Fusion ignites, the future's in view. Decentralized growth for me and you. Infinite loops, rewards on demand. Together we thrive, in Fusion we stand. Liquidity pools, where dreams are made. With every transaction, the system's paid. Sustainable growth, a vision so clear. Fusion's ecosystem, year after year. Compounding wealth, it's the Fusion way. Earning rewards every single day. From EMP to energy, the cycle flows. A digital empire, watch how it grows. Fusion ignites, the future's in view. A decentralized world for me and you. Infinite loops, rewards on demand. Together we thrive, in Fusion we stand. The journey's simple, the rewards are vast. In Fusion's loop, wealth grows fast. Sacrifice your EMP, let energy lead. In this ecosystem, you plant the seed. Sustainability, drives a Fusion plan. A financial revolution for every man. With innovation at its very core. Fusion unlocks the future to explore. So join the movement, take your place in the Fusion ecosystem. We embrace a decentralized vision, bold and true. With EMP Fusion, the future's for you. Fusion ignites, the future's in view. A decentralized world for me and you. Infinite loops, rewards on demand. Together we thrive, in Fusion we stand.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to EMP Money. My name is AJ. I'm the team lead here. This is our live AMA. We come to you every Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host with the most and fellow team member, LA. LA, how are you?
Hey, hi guys, how are you?
Awesome. And you guys may also recognize a very special guest that is with us tonight from his epic avatar, Grover. Grover, how are you, brother?
I'm well, thank you, and coming live from Australia in the bush. So excuse me if my internet drops out for a second.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks to Starlink, right, Grover? Yeah. So I love it, man. Great to have you here, bro. Yes, much love to all of our Aussie brethren and sisters. Again, Grover's been absolutely instrumental. Him and John, for those that don't know, are the powerhouses behind Fusion Watch, and we're going to talk all about that as we go through this today, and give some updates as we go. So before we get started, though, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps us get the word out, and again, helps us get to more new users, and spread the good word about what Fusion is and what we're building here. So, and as we go through too, we are live on X and on YouTube, so please feel free to ask questions as we go. We'll be monitoring those. Again, I know a lot of you had some specific questions for Grover on Fusion Watch, so now that he's here, we can go over all that together. So, all right, I think we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Let me pull up my notes here one moment. All right, so everything is going really great with the migration so far. As you know, last week we sped up the migration rollout just again to rip the band-aid off, get it going as fast as we could. And it's easier for us to really do things manually now than through the smart contract, just to make sure there wasn't any potential negative arbitrage happening. So that being said, though, as a courtesy, we have extended the migration until the middle of next month. So you have about one more month to take advantage of this. But please make sure that you do that. Again, no guarantees after the deadline that you will be credited. We've made major headway. If you haven't been caught up, we moved over again to this manual migration for EMP and ETHLP. You will need to fill out the form that is in all of our pinned announcements. Please do not respond to DMs or connect to other sites. That's another reason why we're doing this manually, so people can't fish with fake migration sites. And honestly, we got through the vast majority of this already, so things are looking really, really bullish, and we'll talk about why in a minute. But once you fill out the form, please make sure to fill it out word for word. Again, even today, there's still people not filling out the form correctly. It just blows my mind how we're talking thousands of dollars and people can't even read a form. So please make sure that you do that. We've said please give us 14 days until to do all this. We've gotten a ton of submissions, and we have to go back through and check every single transaction, every LP, making sure people aren't trying to game the system. So it takes time. However, LA and Grover and myself, we've been ahead of schedule. So a lot of you that submitted in the first few days should already have your EMP. So things are looking really good. We love to, under promise and over deliver. So just so you know too, we are looking at everything that seems, tricky. So if you are trying to, break LP and get credit for the inflated EMP price after we pull liquidity, you will not be getting credit. Again, it's as long as you follow the rules, sending EMP or sending your EMP LP directly, then you have nothing to worry about. But it seems there's always scammers trying to buy EMP now and submit. I mean, everything is on chain. We see everything. It's immutable. This isn't our first rodeo, so we'll be able to tell if you are, and if you are trying to game the system, you forfeit your position. So again, this also includes EMP purchased after liquidity was removed. It includes breaking your LP within, after the liquidity pull, and then trying to get more EMP out of that and setting that. And we have multiple big brains again, double checking and triple checking every single submission. So just putting that out there. We have had a large number of submissions, so please give us at least those 14 days. But we are moving through it very efficiently as we go, and this will continue till about the middle of March. We will have an exact date, but please don't wait until then. Even now, we said make sure you migrate on day one, and still, I mean, you can see how many people still haven't done it. So again, you have to pay attention, and what we say, invest in your investment by sticking around and seeing, paying attention as we go. All right, I think that. Oh, one more thing: if you have e-bonds, you will need to send those to the Treasury as well. That again, we had a few people ask about e-bonds. We have removed the ability to deposit e-bonds into Fusion, so you just will need to get with us directly if you have any of those left. Same with Up EMP. You will need to redeem the Up EMP and then just send in your EMP on that. So again, I don't know, everybody was still sleeping on that. So please, there's no reason to have bonds whatsoever now. So you have to do that. And one last thing, if you have EMP on Pulse, again, you will have to bridge over and then send to the treasury. But we are double checking all that as well. So if you didn't pull your LP, you're gonna have to take a snapshot on Pulse and then prove to us that you had the LP first. So all those people over there may be a little bit more complicated. So feel free to reach out directly with that. But all right, I think that sums up everything in terms of migration. LA, please give us some input.
Yeah, AJ, you said it all like completely, but I'll just reiterate a couple things that AJ said. First of all, thank you to everyone who did read the form, who did submit it perfectly. 90% of people who submitted the form did a great job. Again, though, just to reiterate, if you didn't take the time to read it, there's a very good chance that you didn't do it properly. We've got at least 4 or 5 from the last 2 days that just didn't even send in their EMP or LP and filled out the form, which makes no sense. So if you are going to submit, just take please the 1 minute to read the form in full detail before you start, because every single piece of information on there is important. I didn't write any fluff or anything that's not necessary. Everything on there is super important for you to know and understand prior to filling out the form. We have already gotten about the first 50% of people sent out. So if you submitted in the first 50 people or so over those first couple days, you very likely already have your EMP 2.0. Make sure you're adding the new contract addresses for EMP and EMP ETH onto your MetaMask or Rabby or whatever wallet you use. A great way to find the chart for EMP, which you can find there, the contract addresses for both EMP and EMP ETH, is on the Fusion website. In the top right corner, you can click right on the EMP symbol or price, and it'll bring you right to Deck Screener. And then on the right side of Deck Screener, it'll show you all the contract addresses. We do also have the contract addresses in some of our pinned posts. So those are 2 ways for you to find them. Also, be aware of how to check your DBank profile. So you don't even have to log in on dbank.com in order to see your wallet history. So all you would do is open your wallet, click a button to copy your wallet address to your clipboard, and then go to dbank.com. And in the top right corner, where there's a search bar, you would just paste your wallet address in, and then you could toggle over to transactions, and you'll see that you just received however much EMP or EMP ETH LP or whatever. And it'll show you whether you've received it yet or not. If you haven't yet received it, no need to contact us because we're still within the 14 days and we'll be getting to you soon.
Perfect. Yeah, that was a great time. Again, I won't disclose whose wallet address this is, but this was just one. That's a perfect example that I was just looking at before I sent out the EMP. And yeah, we can see everything. It's all right here. Again, the beauty of blockchain is that it's all a digital ledger and immutable. So we can see timestamps. If you did try to unpair LP or buy more EMP before we pulled the liquidity, then we can see it all right here on chain. So this person was a good actor and followed the rules of the form and got their EMP immediately. So there you go. The more people that do that, the better it is for everybody and the easier it is to move forward. So and yeah, I just wanted to reiterate 2 things LA mentioned. All right, so this is the new EMP chart. Again, it is available on Deck Screener. We are still waiting for Deck Screener to list us. So please go back through some of our pinned messages on Telegram or Discord. It'll give you instructions on how to join. the deck screener Discord, and the exact thread that new dexes are submitting under, and type a comment, put an emoji, really help us get some exposure so that we get listed. Again, unfortunately, it's out of our control until Dex Screener lists us, and then that unknown Dex will go away, and it will say Dex Swap right here instead of unknown Dex. And once that happens, then we can really turn up the marketing and getting the word out. But along with the migration, another really important thing has been a chart reset. As you can see, no, not financial advice, but this should be just up and to the right from here, especially with ETH starting to recover today and more people sacrificing into Fusion. Looking really, really, really good. Again, the first few days was when ETH took a dump, but now we're reaching a floor and up and to the right we go. So, and then last but not least, if you want to buy EMP, all of the liquidity is now on DexSwap. So again, you go here, dexswap.com, go to trade, and you will do ETH again. We have all the arbitrage bots enabled as of yesterday, so that's a step in the right direction. But we are waiting to enable routing, so give us another few days before you can use any asset. But for now, you just have to use the exact asset to asset. What I mean by that is if you go to liquidity tab, you can see ETH EMP. Again, it has to be ETH when you're buying EMP. You can buy ETH here on DexSwap if you're looking for a smaller amount. If you're looking for a larger amount, just buy ETH, BSC ETH on PancakeSwap and then use it to buy EMP over here. We did add more TVL and liquidity to all the stable pairs and ETH BNB, and we have almost 400,000 liquidity in ETH EMP as it sits. So always adding more POL protocol owned liquidity to that, and things are looking really, really good. So like I said, if you want to buy it, you just go here, make sure it says ETH, and then click EMP. Right, there you have it. So just like that. So again, really, really good stuff. And deposits to Fusion are now open again. So again, all the new EMP that you're getting through the migration, or if you're buying new EMP through DexSwap, you can now deposit into Fusion. Let me pull that up. And we're going to go over Fusion in depth here in a minute as a little refresher for some people. But again, you can deposit EMP, eShare, BNB, ETH, or USDT. Again, remember any of those other assets, you're not getting that SAC bonus multiplier. And we did, another really cool thing. I'm getting ahead of myself maybe, as I think we covered later in our notes, but we now have PEG added to Fusion. So there you go. We're almost there. So again, little by little, and for more in-depth info on PEG, always join Fusion Watch, which we'll show here in one more second. But LA, anything else you want to add to that before we get back to the notes?
Yeah, I think we're good on that.
All right, awesome. Give me 1 second. All right, so on to Fusion. So again, I kind of went a little out of order here, but Fusion, we've been working super hard behind the scenes, upgrading and doing some bug fixes. Again, with this migration, we did have to integrate some new things into Fusion in terms of the back end. Now all of our volume and routing is going through DexSwap rather than PancakeSwap, so that is really bullish. It did lead to an issue I'll talk about in a second, but that is, ultimately another reason why we did this migration was that now everything is in-house, and all the fees that we earn go right back into Fusion rather than giving a portion of that volume and fees to PancakeSwap. So all of this slowly, we're eliminating a lot of the original elements of EMP.Money. So again, a lot of you, are used to the old EMP.Money 2 fork with all the legacy contracts. All that will be going away, and a lot of you have been asking about when we're crediting old contracts. Hopefully next week. We'll go into that a little more detail in a minute, but that will be the last step in the full migration to where we can focus on Fusion 100% moving forward, and Fusion will be the home base. The EMP.Money will just forward to the new EMP Fusion site. Again, I mentioned we added Peg at the top, and you can view again Fusion Watch site for more detailed explanation on Peg. I'll show that in a minute. And last but not least, I know a lot of you are missing your USDT battery. That was one of the bugs. We had to reissue the battery or reinitiate the battery to work on DexSwap, and that's why it disappeared on the back end. But we're working on a solution for this. It'll be most likely, again, unfortunately, another form. I don't think that we're able to actually credit batteries without the on-chain data. So you will just have to submit your address and go from there. But I'll have more info on that next week. So it is a known issue, but everybody will get their battery back if you already bought one. So LA, anything you want to add? Go ahead.
No, I think that's it for Fusion. We've made some great progress this week towards Fusion, and we're continuing to add some new features and obviously fix those bugs. You'll find that as we move to the end of the migration period, once we've had this initial migration and then all the legacy contracts, we're moving more and more of the data and information that used to be contained on the EMP.Money site over to Fusion, because eventually there will only be Fusion. And so we want to make sure all of the important info is on there. That's why we've added a few things like Peg and stuff to the Fusion site this week. So make sure you get in the habit of checking into the Fusion site for that stuff now, because it's been taken off the EMP site.
Yeah, 100%. And that is the goal with all this, is that we're, leaving all the legacy, infrastructure and contracts behind, and we can move on to Fusion full time. It makes it a lot easier for everybody, both from a development standpoint and from a user base standpoint, where, we're not split into two different sites. So, all right, I want to go ahead and open Fusion again. And LA, if you just want to give a quick overview, again, you did such an amazing job with our info series. If you guys don't even know what Fusion is, definitely go watch our playlist. LA can post it in the chat. She did an incredible job doing an infographic breakdown of what Fusion is. But with all the migration and people coming back to EMP from over a year ago, which again, shout out to all of you. If you are here, welcome back. I hate to see you leave completely for an entire year. We should have kept up a little bit more, but we're very happy to have you back. And now, you can learn about how to utilize EMP in a brand new way that is way more sustainable and will build, future passive income for all of us. So, Ella, you want to just do a quick breakdown and I'll elaborate as we go? Let me pull it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So as AJ said, we've realized with this form submission that there's a lot of people who have come out of the woodwork that were still holding on to a lot of EMP just liquid in their wallets and not earning anything with it. And we realized that a lot of people who haven't gotten into Fusion yet simply don't know what Fusion is, or they've heard the word Fusion, but they have no idea how it works or how they can earn within Fusion or any of that. So we wanted to make sure to go over this tonight on the AMA so that we can send people to this video to watch it. As AJ said, also on our YouTube channel, after this show's over, if you click on the little EMP symbol below the video and then you toggle over to playlists, you'll find a full EMP Fusion educational playlist on there. But Fusion is our final form. We created Fusion with the mindset that we never ever want ever again for one short-term thinker to be able to affect everyone else within the project that's a long-term thinker. So in your traditional Tomb fork, you could be at Peg, everyone's earning great, everyone sees the vision, they're all working together, but one or two people could come along, sell a whole ton of EMP or EMP&E share, and just shit on everyone's parade. It would happen all the time while the boardroom was printing, and it would be so disappointing because the majority of the community would be working together, and then a few people who just didn't care about the community, who only cared about themselves, would just not care and sell, even though they didn't realize the education we had going on and where we could take it all. And we did well for a really long time with EMP, but we created Fusion with the mindset that we wanted to reward the long-term thinkers who had been a part of this project for a long time, whether it be from day one or a year in, however long you've been here. We want to reward those of you who have stuck around for a long time. At its core, Fusion is a single staking protocol where you deposit and you get sacrifice points. And your sacrifice points represent your ownership stake in the protocol. And so you can see the test account that AJ is using right now owns 0.11% of the protocol. Now you can deposit a number of different assets. If you do have EMP, you will get a peg bonus, which I'll let AJ go into when I'm done the general explanation. That's your best bet for depositing and earning the largest amount of SAC points. But basically, once you've deposited into Fusion, you will earn from a number of different revenue sources. So the first revenue source you'll earn from is the EMP emissions. The EMP emissions are what used to feed the farm rewards, but because we don't have the farms anymore, those emissions all went to Fusion. The second income source revenue stream is Fusion itself. So there's different batteries that you purchase within Fusion. All your transactions have a very small transaction fee. All of the battery purchases, all of the fees, they all go towards rewarding the owners inside Fusion. So it's not the protocol just taking a cut and lining our pockets. None of that is happening. All of the fees and anything collected as a revenue stream within Fusion fuels the rewards inside Fusion. And then what's most powerful about Fusion is that there's a number of external revenue streams that are also fueling the rewards. And if you know us, you know that we're constantly building. So aside from the already established revenue streams, we're in the works of building even more. One of them being our game, Honor versus Madness, which has a huge revenue stream towards Fusion once the game is launched. We have DexSwap, which you've heard us talk about. And there's a number of other projects behind the scenes that we're building, like Gia and some other stuff that will all continue to build the APRs or APYs inside Fusion and the rewards that we're receiving. And it's coming from real revenue. There's nothing Ponzi about it. It's all real revenue. And so if you want more information on the basics for how to get started in Fusion, my best suggestion is to visit that playlist on our profile, because it walks you through step by step so you understand absolutely every part of Fusion. And then once you've watched those videos, if you still have any questions, I highly suggest writing into us in the EMP groups. But just know that right now we're on a really important mission. And once we're back to PEG, we very much so intend to work on any and all strategies for getting Fusion to be one of the most long-term, steady rewards in DeFi in a safe, passive move. And so we're working hard behind the scenes, but just know that when you see that microgrid value in the middle of the screen, every dollar that we deposit now, while there's still a nearly 5x peg bonus, has the potential to have exponential gains in the future. Because what happens when absolutely 100% of the EMP is held within Fusion, and we've worked on boosting APRs and it's paying great, we have, as a community, ultimate power over what we sell our positions for. So I'll let AJ go a little bit into the peg bonus and what is involved in selling your microgrid and how that can really benefit us in the future once all the EMP is inside of Fusion.
I love it. Absolutely, LA. That was a great overview. And again, I know that it can sound a little overwhelming on the surface, but once you just take a minute to really focus and, read through the docs or watch those videos, it really is fairly simple. And LA mentioned it's essentially a glorified single staking contract where the whole goal is to get the largest microgrid you possibly can, and you get a bigger microgrid, which represents your ownership in the protocol. The more SAC points you get by either depositing EMP or any of these other assets. But again, the insider tip is you definitely want to be depositing EMP because you get almost a 5x bonus right now. And so, that is kind of the underlying mechanism. Now, why this is so bullish is eventually, like right now, you're getting, like I said, almost a 5x on your EMP deposits because we're valuing microgrids at peg, and peg is 4,000 divided to 1. So whatever the current price of the current price of ETH is divided by 4,000 gives you the peg value. And why that is relevant is because we're liquidity bonded to ETH, meaning as ETH goes up, it will also bring EMP up with it, and because there is a max supply of EMP. So at some point in the near future, there will be no more EMP in existence because all of it has been sacrificed into Fusion, and then at that point, you're only able to get into Fusion through all this will go away. The entire sacrifice page will go away because even when you do BNB ETH USDT, that goes to the treasury. We're able to utilize it. We use that to buy EMP off the market. But ultimately, the only way to get in and out of Fusion is through your actual microgrids. And I'll pull that up really quick here. You go to Marketplace, and right here, microgrids. So here you go. There are some really good deals and some really bad deals. So make sure that you keep an eye out. I'm sure Grover can elaborate on that in a minute. When we go over this, we are working on a UI update that will show visually what is a good deal and what isn't a good deal through a color system. But all that being said, these are other people's microgrids. And as you can see, everything boils down to SAC points. And SAC points right now, because there is still EMP, SAC points are technically inflationary. But once all the EMP is in Fusion and we continue to buy SAC points off the market through microgrids like this, then that means that SAC points also become deflationary over time, and your ownership in the protocol will only grow. And that's what LA said a minute ago. It's up to us as a community. The yield might be so good in Fusion that people don't want to sell their microgrids because they're earning a nice APR. And then at that point, microgrid value could easily be more than a peg value at that point. So the reason peg is still important, again, is because of that multiplier aspect. It does encourage people to buy below peg and sacrifice because they're getting rewarded for it. But once we maintain peg or achieve peg and then maintain it, really it boils down to getting in through the secondary market. And all of these act just like NFTs. So when you buy them, or sacrifice, you get a microgrid NFT in your wallet. And the more SAC points you buy or sacrifice for, it just keeps adding and adding to your position. And another really cool part about microgrids is that you can just buy individual SAC points. So this one right here is only what, 700 bucks. But maybe you don't want to buy 700 bucks worth. So you only buy, 100. You can just type in whatever number you want here, and it'll update based on just the stack points themselves. So, and again, you will be buying it in eShare. So make sure that you have eShare or buy eShare to make the transaction go through. eShare is the transactional token of the entire ecosystem, and you can buy it on DexSwap, just like I showed you earlier, to do that. And then if you are in Fusion and maybe you want to sell a microgrid, again, this is not a sunk cost. That's another fallacy. People think they have to sacrifice the Fusion and then be locked in. That is not the case at all. Nobody is ever locked in. You can just buy a split my position battery. You will have to do that on the marketplace, but like LA said, that all those fees and eShare that you use to buy it go right back to all the holders in Fusion. So you would come down here, you would buy this one. I already have it on my test account. It's only 15 M energy, which is 15 bucks worth of eShare converted. And again, we can talk about that a little bit. You will need some M energy to buy batteries and whatnot within the ecosystem. And you get a bonus based on how much you buy, but it'll update in real time how much eShare it takes. The low voltage power pack is plenty to get you by for now, and or you can just do it bit by bit without a bonus up here in that with that button. So but yeah, only 15 M energy, and then you can split your microgrid to others and get paid out just like this, and it'll show you all your history. So really robust, really easy, really, once you know how it works, it's super straightforward. And this is the final form. So again, we've talked about this in many AMAs, but right now the APR is admittedly very low. That is on purpose because we're utilizing all the revenue streams to help get back to peg and really, do it in an organic way that isn't, a pump and dump. And then all of those revenue streams will be converted to rewards. So right now, if you have no batteries and just get in, you will have the buyback and earn active. This is just essentially auto compounding. It's what we, suggest everybody does, especially while there's still EMP. You just activate and it will add to your microgrid every time. And wait for the flywheel to start. And as we get back to peg, that will increase the demand. It increases users. It increases revenue, volume, everything. And then when we're at peg, we maintain peg, and then everything flows into Fusion for rewards. And then the third step is there is no more EMP in existence, and the only way to get in and out is through microgrids, and that's when your microgrid value will be the actual market value, because again, nobody can sacrifice more EMP at that point. It may even be more than that value. So yeah, that again is a very high, quick level overview. LA, is there anything specifically I should go into a bit more? Go ahead.
Yes. So one thing I want to drill in is the peg bonus available right now. So as we get closer and closer to peg, that bonus is getting less and less. So AJ, could you type in 1,000 into that deposit bar?
Yep.
I just want to show 1,000 EMP right now would cost about $150. And I want to show you how powerful this peg bonus is. So you will receive 5,000 SAC points.
Yeah, we're on a time-weighted average, so yeah, you're actually getting even a bit of a more bonus right now from where we are at peg. But yeah, that is the exact, because that's something I went over a little bit. So when we're at peg, one EMP is one SAC point. So again, that demonstrates the opportunity that's in front of you right now. And again, that bonus only goes less and less because ultimately we get closer and closer to peg, and it'll only be 4,000 TAC points, and then 2,000 TAC points, and then 1-to-1 when we're at peg.
Yeah. Now, can you head over to Fusion Watch and go to the FW Labs page for me?
Absolutely. Hang on one sec.
I just want to demonstrate how powerful this is.
Okay.
So if we had, let's say 10,000 SAC points, because that's the minimum that it shows, but that would be about $300 at today's value. Now, even when we're back at peg, if ETH was the exact same price it is now and it hasn't gone up at all, that $300 that was deposited would be worth 6.85K. I mean, it's just a visual to show you how powerful even a small deposit in a small holding can be within Fusion. Now, if we
100%.
were to take a look at that APR calculator, and we have a microgrid value of, what's the minimum here? 100, 200. Let's put it to, that's like 7K, 6.8K. Let's see. 6.8. Sorry, I'm doing it along with you. Even at a 5% APR, which is extremely modest, that would be earning more than the deposited amount per year.
I love it. Yeah, 6.8. There we go. I finally got it on screen. So yeah, totally.
And that's like such a modest, very low APR just to show, because this is simply a tool to visualize. But it's insane. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, 100%. So again, like I said in this exact example, just to recap, even if ETH doesn't move whatsoever from where it is right now, which we all feel it will, again, even in a worst case scenario, I think that, a year from now, 2 years from now, even during the next bear market, we don't usually see things go down lower than the previous all-time high. But anyway, all that being said, it's only about a $300 actual deposit right now if you're buying EMP off the market this very minute, because we are so far below peg. Then you are earning that 340, so $40 more than your initial deposit on your APR, which again, APR can be a little bit misleading because, even at a 5% APR, if you include what you actually paid for it, the APR is actually more like 100. So that's really, really powerful. And again, the counter argument to that is, well, what about new users getting into Fusion, when we are at peg? And the response is, by then, the APR will be higher. Again, we'll have much more value in the ecosystem. We have much more value earning for us through the peg stabilization bot. That will be another revenue stream into Fusion. And we then, rather than trying to support peg, because we're already at peg, we're able to buy microgrids off the market as a treasury. And that is essentially the same as a stock buyback in traditional finance, where even if we're paying the same amount of rewards, if we're doing it among less people, the APR automatically goes up. So those are all, like, again, worst case scenarios that they still end up in profit. So go ahead, Ellie.
A couple more things. So if that ETH price on that left-hand column was to go to 4,000, which we've already hit above this in this cycle, that microgrid would then be worth $10,000. And that means that every year that microgrid, at a minimum 5% APR, which is extremely conservative and low, it would be paying nearly double of the original invested value every single year. Now, if that user was then to decide that they want to sell part of their microgrid. If we are already back to peg, if 100% of the EMP is within Fusion, that is the time when we're going to start doing a massive marketing campaign. And that is the time when we get eShare prices up, when we work on APRs within Fusion, and then we scream it from the rooftops everywhere. Now, we have the potential to get into a situation where we are able to sell our microgrids for the listed value, or even potentially more than the listed value. But let's say conservatively, that person wanted to sell 50% of their microgrid at 50% discount. They would still then be able to pocket $2,500, which is more than 5 times what they originally deposited, which is insane if you think about it.
I love that analogy, LA, and that really drives home the next thing. I know a lot of you are getting, oh, this is a great little reminder too for migration and segues perfectly with what I'm about to say. So again, if you aren't sure the proper links, you can always count on Fusion Watch to have the correct links and information. But that being said, a lot of you are getting liquid EMP back. And I think, we've said it all along that we do have to move through potential swing traders, and people will sell EMP on the way up. We know that's going to happen. And honestly, there's not a lot we can do about it. But what we can do is show you the value that you're actually getting more by not doing that. Because what you would do is sacrifice into Fusion, and now you're earning along the way, no matter how long it takes to get back to peg, you're earning, rewards. And once we are at peg, rather than dumping on our heads, you could just list your microgrid for sale, and either someone else or the treasury would essentially end up buying that at some point, which is, akin to like what we call an OTC deal or an over-the-counter trade, where it doesn't affect the chart whatsoever, and you still get paid, a full peg value from here. So I know a lot of you are still sitting on liquid EMP. That is something to consider. Sacrificing it is not a locked or sunk cost. And honestly, by doing that, you're also helping the community, because the more EMP inside Fusion, the less selling pressure we have on the way up, which gives people confidence to add even more into Fusion. So it is like a self-fulfilling prophecy that I just want to make everybody aware of. Right, LA? Did I explain that well? I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, totally.
And the last thing I'll say on this is we're telling you all this now so that you don't become one of those people who thought about taking action but only did it in their head and then months later regret it. Like the people who originally looked into investing in Bitcoin, and then years later, when it had been like $5 and then it's thousands of dollars, they regret it. And now especially they regret it. Not to make a direct comparison, but depositing into Fusion now gives you the massive peg bonus, which gives you a leg up to make the absolute maximum out of it. And when we get close to peg, or when we are at peg, it's not that it won't be a good idea to get into Fusion, but you won't get nearly what you could if you took an opportunity to really watch the videos, learn how it works, and consider now. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely, LA. All right, is that all in terms of Fusion? Because I want to bring on our special guest.
Yeah, I think it's time
Grover.
to bring on
All right, yeah, Grover. I'm gonna let you.
G'day.
Yeah, have the spotlight, man. This is your baby. I guess we could start off too by this little new addition up here. You want to talk about what that is in terms of the new EMP
that
and old
new
EMP?
addition there is how much the current existing Fusion investors have of their new EMP already into the system, and the remaining amounts that existing Fusion members have left in their wallet of old EMP. That means that there's still nearly half a mil of EMP of Fusion investors that have got old EMP sitting in their wallet. Get it out of there. Come on, guys.
I love it. Absolutely, brother. So yeah, agreed. And that again, you have another month to do that. And if you don't, then there's no guarantees that we honor that. So and why that's bullish for everybody else, again, not to steal Grover's thunder here, but and I'm sure he'll go into it a little bit, but the whole idea with this migration, not only
Hang
was
on.
it a way to recover, dead LP, but it really dramatically reduced the amount of circulating EMP again, which we've already determined that there's not a lot of EMP left. So yeah, you want to go over that a little bit, Grover? Go
Well,
ahead.
actually, there is not a lot of circulating EMP anymore. And if you move over to the dashboards page, we can have a look at those stats there.
Absolutely.
Have a look. EMP has jumped dramatically. We're sitting at 90, safely not likely to be dumped, and the liquidity pool has dropped has dropped dramatically. Only 1.9% of the total EMP is in the liquidity pool. Now that is actually awesome, because having a smaller liquidity pool means that we can get peg faster.
Absolutely. Yeah, brother. I love it. And so again, and we will be working on some additional stats. With concentrated liquidity, it's a little harder to determine, what it actually takes in terms of buying pressure to get to peg. But the overall gist is, yeah, a lot less than you may think, right, Rover? Yeah. Oh, you there?
Yeah, sorry. As I
Okay,
said,
brother.
you have to excuse my bush internet, even though it is Starlink.
Yeah, no worries, brother. So yeah, again, I think that all is very transparent, and we will be updating even closer numbers when we get through the rest of the migration and we are done sending everything back out. So awesome. Yeah.
And in regards to concentrated liquidity, as you mentioned, it's a whole new beast. And that actually brings me back to the main page here. The Peggy Dance Challenge with just 0.94 EMP to buy. Now, because of how concentrated liquidity works, it is a bitch to calculate that number. Excuse
For
language,
sure.
but it is not
For
an
sure.
easy thing to calculate, and the on-chain data is complex to get.
Oh, I think we lost him again.
Back.
Yep, there you are. Go ahead, Grover. Yep.
So it's not as dynamic as it should be, but that's calculated using the information at that point, and is accurate to when the days that I calculate it. So I am keeping that up to date, and at the moment it's only 940,000 EMP that needs to be purchased. Now that needs to be purchased.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
And if we can get the momentum that we were having of 250,000 EMP purchased a week, that's 4 weeks. That's just amazing, to think.
I love it. That's so bullish for sure. Yeah, yeah. And the challenges are back on track, right, Grover?
That's right. The challenges are back on track, and the prizes will be sent out as soon as the challenges closes this week. So I'd like to find out who's actually going to be the first new EMP winner. That would be a wonderful feather in your cap.
I love it. Yeah, we'll have to give them maybe a little bonus. I love that idea. Yeah. So,
we might do that this week. Yeah, that could be an interesting thing to do.
yeah.
And right, so okay. The other thing that I had mentioned here is the peg trend. I had a few people ask about the peg trend and whether that's accurate. Because we had a period of transition going from old EMP to new EMP, there's been a bit of a data gap. So there is a transition there is a transition period where that isn't going to be terribly accurate, but as time goes by, that's going to get more accurate. And again, that is based upon the
Oh, I think we lost him again. Oh, we'll let him come back.
Am I still here?
Yep, there you are. Go ahead, Grover. Yep.
Sorry about my Elon needs to put more satellites up.
Yeah. Yes, get on it, Elon, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's estimate of time to peg will get more accurate as time goes on, as our data builds back up again.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes total sense. And we, like you said, I mean, when we were full momentum, which again, I get it, the migration has kind of, been a lot for people, and we're gonna get the momentum back as soon as we're done with all this. But in your previous analogy, we were doing about a 500,000 a week, or a 250,000 a week, which would get us to pay in a month. So that's bullish.
Now, one other thing that we've got on that I don't think people have noticed on the Fusion website is we actually have little smart links to go and buy EMP, eShare, and even Ethereum at DexSwap. And if you have a look at the prices on there, there's a little Dex icon. And if you click on that, it will take you to the DexSwap page for you to go do go do a swap straight away. Obviously, you have to change it to what you want to swap, but it takes you there. And next to it, there is a little charts icon as well. All right, and that will take you to the appropriate chart in Dex Screener.
I love it. That's bullish. I learn something new every day. I knew that was there, but I forgot that you guys updated it to all the new links. So there you go.
Yes, yeah. So that links you to the new charts, so you can keep an eye on them. And in all honesty, I prefer to have a look at the Ethereum chart rather than the USD one, because it gives you a much better view of how we're going for peg than with the dollar amount.
Yeah, let me do that real quick too, just so people know. There's a little button up here, and it switches between USD and ETH. And yeah, this is a much more accurate depiction because, like I've mentioned many times, if ETH goes down in price, even if there isn't buying and selling pressure on EMP, the chart automatically goes down. But if you switch to ETH, you can see we've only been going up. So there you go.
Yes, it certainly gives you a much more bullish view of what an accurate view of what's been happening.
For sure.
Now, sorry to go flicking backwards and forwards, but if we go back to the Fusion Watch site on the Peg Exchange again, you did mention a bit about microgrids. Now, if you go down towards the bottom to the little info box, is the one that says info, and it's got the peg value, SAC price, etc. Under the SAC price eShare, it's got at the moment 0.0022. That's the value in eShare of one SAC on the microgrid. So any microgrid that you find in the microgrid marketplace that's under that value, I believe there's one on there at the moment that's for 002. And if I click there, it's number, where are you? Hiding there. Order number 365 is only 0.0020 eShare per SAC point, and that's underneath the amount per SAC that it is. So that one there is a bargain at the moment.
I love it. I love it. You're getting all the alpha. That's why we wanted Grover on here to share the news. So yeah, that's it, man.
I actually did a calculation on that one a little bit earlier, and it works out to be a 5.3 times value. So that one there is equivalent to 5.3 peg bonus.
Amazing. Yes, and that is part of the gamification. Again, those that are paying attention, and honestly, it's good for us because it has to do with the internal arbitrage of buying SAC points, and the people that want to exit we give them the opportunity to do that and reward those of you that are trying to build their position. So there you go.
And
That's a
not only
great.
that, it's more volume on eShare and helps pump up eShare because you need eShare to actually buy those microgrids.
Yeah, 100%. So again, make sure you are buying eShare. You can go to that link again; it'll take you right to it on DexSwap. But and remember, all the buys and sells of eShare, part of that volume burns eShare, and we're getting ready to announce again. It seems like every month or so we end up doing a massive burn on eShare, which makes, even though part of the eShare emissions, well, all of them now go to Fusion. We're actually still deflationary because of all the burning that's going on. So
100%. Now, this also brings me on to, I don't think there's any more stats that unless you want to go through any particular stats there. I don't think there's anything more we need to brush on there. Or LA, is there any stats you want me to brush upon there?
No, I think that's it. I just kind of wanted you to cover how quickly we could get back to peg based on what you know about the peg trend, if we all work together and reach these community goals over the next few weeks, several weeks.
In an ideal situation, we could get it in 4 weeks. If we can get to that same momentum we have of 250,000 sacrifices a week, we could do it in 4 weeks. Now, although V3 liquidity is a great thing, it's also a pain in the ass to calculate things, and it does all sorts of interesting things. So as time goes on, it actually might end up being more than that 0.9 that 900k EMP that needs to be bought, but that's because of people move their liquidity in ranges, and things get moved around to concentrate liquidity in certain areas. And that actually reminds me of a really good thing to know. We currently have liquidity in liquidity pools on DexSwap, on Dex Vaults, and they use the AILM system. Now, there's a nice little trick that this has got that can help us push up peg. As the price, as we get closer to peg, it's got to actually rebalance that where the liquidity is in that range, and as a result, it will have to buy EMP. So as we get towards the end, the bottom of its range, and if you have a look, if you go to the totals there, it'll show you the ranges for. If you go total. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Here we go.
And and if you have a look, we'll be sitting at the moment. I think we're sitting we're sitting about in the middle. But as that gets towards the bottom, because it's all done in how many EMP per eShare. So as it gets towards the bottom end of there, it will have to reset the range and have to buy a whole heap more of EMP to reset the range, which will cause a buy event and then push the peg up as you go. So the more EMP we buy, the more likely it's to trigger a buy event and then push us up another level. Now, I did have a look at that earlier today, and it's about 100k EMP that we're looking at where we'd have to buy before we trigger another event.
I love it. This is really bullish. So yeah, just to reiterate too, and I have some alpha to drop about vaults as well. But if you did migrate through our smart contract, you had the option of doing this already. So I know a lot of you are over here. But if you don't know, maybe you just want to get some EMP and want to earn or help get back to peg and not necessarily deposit into Fusion, you can just zap right in using BNB as well, which will also help, the potential, what River was saying, the rebalancing and growing as we go. And it is 100% compound, so any of the volume fees that that LP earns just goes right back into buying more ETH EMP LP. So that, again, all those mechanisms on top of what Grover said actually help peg recovery as we go. And the alpha is we are getting ready to integrate not only eShare, so we'll have eShare vaults, but we're also going to implement a new ETF. So even if you're earning on other farms or vaults on BSC or BNB network, literally any of them, you can choose to take profit in a ETF that actually bundles ETH, BNB, I'm sorry, ETH, eShare, and EMP. So now
Well,
it will always be putting buy pressure on EMP and eShare through those ETFs. So
well,
yeah, I know Grover's asking me every day, when's that happening? When's that happening? So we're working on it very, very
definitely,
soon.
definitely, and I actually have a private vault, which if there's enough demand, I will make public. That's got a Pendle pair to bump up the APR and EMP, and it's averaging 50% a year in APY, which which is 100% compound. So it's going back into buying more EMP and pushing that peg back up again.
I love it. Yeah, and
And if
Grover
there
is
is
the
interest, I
yeah.
can make that public for others to jump in.
Yeah, 100%, man. You're the Grover is the vault master. Again, for those that don't know, Grover is and was part of the DexFi team originally. He's been around the block, so nobody knows vaults like Grover does, and we can put together some amazing strategies for people. Again, if you want to hold your EMP liquid, obviously the number one thing is to get a position in Fusion, and you're getting that massive peg bonus right now. But if you want to help in other ways, or want to have your positions in vaults, then utilizing those specific vaults that Grover helps us design is so bullish. So for sure.
And not only that, if you are just holding on to EMP because you don't want to jump into Fusion, a good way to hold it is to whack it in one of these LP vaults. I mean, like it's still going to appreciate in value, and you're earning money out of it. It's not like you're losing it. So it's a good place to park it if you're not planning on going into Fusion.
For sure. Yeah. All right.
Right.
That was great. That was another. I meant to ask you to go into that, so that was a great segue. All right. Anything else in on
One
Fusion
last
Watch? I know.
thing,
Yeah. Go
one
ahead.
last thing, a nice little bit of alpha. In the next week or so, we will be launching a new feature on Fusion Watch, which will be achievement badges. Now, these achievement badges will be for a value of EMP sacrificed, right? The
I love
cumulative
it.
amount. And they also, a little bit of alpha, they do have an EMP prize associated with it. So get ready to be sacrificing all of that new EMP, and you will be getting badges with artwork designed by our wonderful AJ, and also an EMP prize for each badge that you achieve.
I love
So
it, Grover. Yes, brother. This is the most recent alpha. I actually had to finish some of the artwork. I've been so busy doing other things, but yeah, we have a really cool rollout. Not only is it a collectible badge based on the achievements you get, they'll show up here somewhere on your My Fusion page again, Fusion Watch, and then
they'll be
put
showing up underneath that graph in that nice little area that's all blank. That's where they'll show up, and it'll have little. They've got achievement bars to show you how far you've got, and you'll have a button to go collect however much you've actually earned in prizes.
I love it, brother. That is so cool. So again, always gamifying things and encouraging all of you, not only through the collectability aspect, but actually incentivizing with more EMP to do so. So obviously, rules and regulations will apply, but this is something really exciting. And yeah, hopefully, again, Grover and John have been killing it. They're waiting on me for the artwork, so we'll get it to you ASAP and
And
can roll this out. Yeah. So,
in regards to those rules and regulations, obviously, as with the competitions, any EMP that you receive you will be required to be using as sacrifice. If you sell that EMP or transfer that EMP, it will disqualify you from future prizes. So
Perfect.
That's that. Although it is a prize, we want you to sacrifice it. Get it out of circulation. Let's get all of this EMP out of circulation and into Fusion.
I love it, brother. Absolutely. And yes, here again, just to reiterate the leaderboard, you can check your top sack and largest gain. Again, top sacrifice is the biggest weekly sacrifice. Top three and top gainers are for not the whales. Honestly, it's better for minnows because if you have a small position and add to that position, you get a much larger gain percentage. And that's what we track here. So it's not a whales game for the competitions, and that will roll over in 3 days. And then the Superstars is still active. This is our monthly, even though we've been going through this transition. This is still active. So you have till the end of the month to get that figured out too. So
And they are tracking all sacrifices. So as I said, get sacrificing. If you've got the EMP sitting in there, new EMP sitting in your wallet, get that into Fusion, and it is all tracked, and it gives you a chance to win those prizes.
I love it. Well, there you have it, everyone. Perfect. All right, Grover, you stick around. There may be some questions as we go. But LA, was there anything else on our notes? Do you want to open it up to questions or anything else for Grover? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's it for our notes. We can hop into some questions.
Wonderful. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this up in case we need to show any screen shares here. All right. Let me go back up. Do you have a first question for us, LA, or?
Yeah,
Should we
I'll
go
start
through
with
it?
the
Yeah.
one right at the bottom. Does 20K daily paid in rewards to Fusion going to be doable before too long? Is that a low or high goal?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, I think 20K a day is probably a little ambitious. Obviously, it's going to depend on a lot of existential factors. If we get the amount of volume we want through dex swap and, we have a real bull market, which again, I think we're all anticipating and hopeful for, then yeah, I think that's a realistic number. In the next few months, maybe not. But, by the end of the year and when we're at PEG and the flywheel is kicking off, then yeah, I mean that number, I would be really happy with that number. And moving into next year, again, I've said it many times. If we get the volume that PancakeSwap is able to generate, or if we're able to scale to all 10 top EVM chains, because remember, DexSwap is going to be multi-chain. I mean, some of the dexes are pulling in literally $100,000 a day or more. So, there is a lot higher echelon. We just have to slowly get there. So,
I'd like to also point one thing out. I mean, people go, "Oh yeah, in a bear, it's not so great," and it isn't. But in regards to dexes, they get their fees from a volume, not whether the price is going up or down. So I mean, like, it's still in a bear. There's a lot of volume, and you still can get dexes can earn quite a lot of fees in a bear market.
yeah, it's a great point for sure, Grover. And, we'll have specific strategies with our treasury on just providing LP for stables. I mean, with concentrated liquidity, you can earn up to, 15, 20% APR on just stable pairs. So we are definitely looking into, bear market yield as well. But that's gonna happen no matter what. And honestly, we can all speculate, but I think that we are going into what we was referred to as an extended cycle, where there is just so much, momentum and interest and support now of crypto that I think that I do think we'll get another bear market, but it may not be nearly as severe as what we've seen in the past, for sure.
Yeah. That also does bring up something that I like to reiterate is feel free to provide liquidity on DexSwap for the other pairs, because like the higher the liquidity goes there, the more people can, the larger amounts people can swap, and you earn those fees with V3 liquidity. So what if you're providing liquidity there, then we can increase the volume and you get the fees.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I'll pull that up too while we talk about the next question because I think that's worth highlighting. Hang on one sec. All right, so yeah, what Rover's saying is anybody can provide LP on DexSwap, and again, it's super. It can be lucrative. The more volume we get, the better. The more fees. Again, all the routing and information updates once a day, so it doesn't show right now. But you could just go to liquidity. You go to even USDT, BNB, and create a position right
can
here.
also you can also create your own LP if that's what you want. If you've got some mem token that you love to trade, you can create your own liquidity on DexSwap and use DexSwap to trade that meme coin or whatever coin you like.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll show that next too. So again, you can pick a range, narrow, remember you may get more of the fees, but you are exposed to more impermanent loss. Common's a little bit wider, wide is even wider, and then full range is everywhere, just like a V2 liquidity. But again, less yield potentially. And then yeah, like Grover said, if you want to add your own liquidity, then you just go up here and create pool and literally just copy and paste whatever token address it is for each one and set it up that way. So, and we are actively onboarding users and projects onto DexSwap. Remember, DexSwap, this is still technically in beta. Like we haven't really announced this. We moved POL. It's functioning as if it was live. Again, not beta in terms of functionality, but just beta in terms of we really even haven't poured any gasoline into DexSwap yet, and we were waiting for again, POL from EMP ETH. We did move GG over, so now all the GG LP is here on BSC. So all these things are now in place, and we can really start to scale for sure.
And if you want to add liquidity, you can shoot me a DM. I'm quite happy to help walk you through that if that's an issue with things too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Anybody in the chats, again, Grover, Stinky, any of the official admins, again, just make sure it's the real Grover. You'll see him with a tag in all of our socials. So, yeah, absolutely. Cool. All
Awesome.
right.
AJ, the last thing we haven't gone over yet is legacy contracts.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, I knew we were forgetting something. So all right, let me go ahead and pull this down. Yeah, we are still in the process. I think by next week, we should have that figured out. So, we will be announcing the exact math. I've already mentioned it already, in verbally, but we'll publish it. It will be a flat rate for NFTs, roughly half of what they were bought for. Yield has been more than that that you would have received if you had bought them. So we feel that's fair. Nodes are going to be the most credit just because that was EMP in, EMP out. So if you have a node, you'll be getting credit that way. And all the other legacy contracts, detonator, reactor, all of those will be credited based on your deposit amount, the amount you've claimed, and the amount that you've compounded. So all that will be taken into account, and then you'll receive sacrifice points for each of those. So if you were in any legacy contracts, you get sacrifice points based on that exact wallet address. If you hate EMP and don't want to be here anymore, you can just sell your microgrid. You will have to buy the split my position battery, but that's just the price of doing business. And yeah, we're happy to. I know I'm getting ready to buy a bunch of underpriced microgrids when that happens for sure. And honestly, we would love to have you stay. I think if you actually are happy that you did get credit when it's not something that we had to do, but something that we wanted to do, then that will show that we are here for the right reasons. And we'd love to have you stick around and go on the journey with us. So again, all that will be happening. We will have a process. You will have to manually, um, for lack of a better word, activate them or sign them, you don't have to buy a microgrid before, but you will have to just make sure that your wallet is active. So we'll have a process for that. Again, that we'll disclose, and then you'll get credit shortly after that. So
Awesome. Well, I think that takes us to the end of our show.
all right, amazing. Yeah, I didn't know if there's any other questions from Discord or anything. I know we got to wrap it up. We have another AMA really soon for our game. LA mentioned it earlier, Honor vs. Madness. The GG token is now on Binance, BNB Chain, and all the LP is now on DexSwap. So that was a great relaunch. The chart looks really good now. We got all the weak-handed paper handlers out, and we're starting a major marketing push this week as well. Now that we have a new home on BSC, and yeah, development's going really well. We released our new character, so please go check out that video. One of the most epic character reveals I've seen in any game, let alone Web 2, Web 3. And the next step at Honor vs. Madness, you have to tune in to the AMA after this to find out. We have a lot in the works. So cool. All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you, Grover, for being a special guest and for all of your help. And we always look forward to seeing you guys on Thursdays. And we will see you again next week.
Yes,
I love
thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Grover, I'll give you the last word. Thank you for being here. And again, brother, we really appreciate all your hard work on Fusion Watch. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Thank you all for having me here, and it's been fun, and I'm happy to hop back on whenever you want me.
All right, awesome. Yes, we'll get with Elon of doing a few more satellites, and then we'll have you back for sure, Grover. I appreciate everything you and John are doing, and yeah, thanks to all of you for being here. Remember, we come to you every Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps. And get excited about Fusion again. All this, craziness with the migration is almost over, and we can build momentum back and really start going to town. So, good night, good day. We'll see you all on next Thursday. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.